Escape to Taiwan? Yu Menglong's manager hiding. The night a U.S. forensic expert lit the story. The night did not fall. It spilled, like ink from a pen that the universe willed. And somewhere between silence and glory, the city leaned in to listen to story. Neon lights hummed low, whispers ran wild, screens flickered rumors, half true and half styled, and the name on every trembling tongue was Yu Menglong's, softly sung, then rung. Not shouted, not screamed, but carried in air, like a secret too heavy for hearts to bear. Escape to Taiwan? The headlines cried, each word like a wave with nowhere to hide. And beneath all the noise, beneath digital clatter, one shadow slipped through: the manager. No press release, no calm denial, just a silence stretched mile by mile. In a glass-walled office where clocks stood still, a phone kept ringing against its will. Assistants froze, their breath held tight, as day blurred slowly into night. Emails unanswered, doors locked fast, the present choking on rumors past. And somewhere between panic and strategy, a man vanished from the industry. They said he hid. They said he fled. They said fear lived where he once led. And the story grew teeth, the story grew bone. Fed by absence, fed by tone. Because silence, when famous, becomes a crime, and waiting itself feels guilty in time. Meanwhile, across an ocean wide, where truth is dissected, not glorified, a U.S. forensic expert, silver-haired, precise, watched the chaos with unsleeping eyes. He did not tweet. He did not rage. He studied the data, page by page. The footage slowed to a single breath. Metadata danced between life and death. Timestamps questioned, pixels aligned. Every frame interrogated, unkind. This, he murmured, soft but clear, is not the monster they want you to fear. The room was quiet, painfully so, as if truth itself spoke low. No theatrics, no dramatic flair. Just evidence laid bare. A pause. A click. A timeline broke. Because one image lied by a second too late. One shadow fell at an impossible rate. One audio wave stuttered, bent, like a sentence forged, not meant. Outside, fans refreshed feeds with shaking hands, building hope from half-made plans. Some defended, some doubted, some cried, all trapped on rumors' relentless tide. And in Taiwan's rain-soaked streets afar, a lone figure watched lights from a car. Was it escape? Or space to breathe? Was it running, or refusing to bleed? The airport doors hissed like a closing stage. Flashbulbs burned with unearned rage. But no photos came, no proof stood tall. Just speculation pacing the wall. Because sometimes the truth doesn't run or shout. Sometimes the truth simply waits things out. Back in the city where chaos was born, morning arrived exhausted and torn. Newsrooms buzzed with caffeine and dread, recycling theories already dead. When suddenly, quietly, without a drum, the forensic report began to hum. Not leaked with drama, not sold for fame, just facts that refuse the Hunger Game. The internet slowed, then held its breath, because lies collapse differently than death. Threads unraveled, screenshots faded, certainties weakened, voices jaded, and the story, once sharp, once cruel, lost its favorite tool, fuel. Yu Menglong had not spoken yet. No tears, no plea, no public regret. But sometimes dignity is the loudest sound when 1,000 accusations hit the ground. In a quiet room with a window wide, he stood where the world could not decide whether to crown him or break him in two, and the mirror asked, "What will you do?" He answered not with a viral cry, but with patience stacked high, because storms that rise from borrowed flame burn out faster than those with name. The manager would reappear, they always do, when the smoke thins enough to move through, and when he spoke, his voice would shake, not from guilt, but from the cost of stakes, of learning how fast the crowd can turn, how quick a lesson the famous learn. And somewhere, far from screens and fights, the forensic expert shut off his lights. Knowing truth is not a hero's sword, but a quiet weight the honest afford. No applause, no trending crown, just accuracy laid down. The story didn't end with cheers or blame, but with something rare, reclaimed name. A reminder carved in digital stone that not all storms are rightly thrown, that running is not always flight, and silence is not admitting night. So when they ask, did he escape? The answer bends, reshapes its shape. Because sometimes survival wears that face, and distance is not disgrace. And the tale continues, slower now. Less sharpened edge, less fevered vow. Still rhyming with the stories before, of fame, of fire, of wanting more, a saga built on breath and bone, where truth stands last and stands alone. And in the end, when noise grows tired, and the crowd moves on, forever wired, what remains is not the lie they sold, but the strength it took to not fold. Another chapter. Same old glory. Still echoing the rhythm of story. The night kept breathing slow and tight, as if the city itself feared light, because part one was never the proof. It was the disappearance, sharp and aloof. Before experts spoke, before truth had a face, there was absence, empty space. A manager gone like smoke at dawn. No goodbyes said, no jacket drawn. Just a desk still warm, a chair half-turned, and questions piled where answers burned. Phones buzzed like insects trapped in glass. Messages sent, no reply passed. Calendars froze on yesterday's lie. As assistants whispered, did he fly? One rumor swore he crossed the sea. Another said, Taiwan. Quietly. Rain stitched silver through airport lights. Announcements echoed unfinished flights. A black cap low, a mask pulled tight. A man moved wrong, too fast, too light. Not famous enough to be chased by flame, yet tied forever to a famous name. Was he guilty? Or just afraid? Or the first to run when debts are made? Because managers don't bleed on stage. They bleed in contracts, trapped in cages. They carry secrets, seal them neat, then drown alone when stories leak. Back in the city, dawn arrived pale. Newsrooms howled like hungry jails. Escape to Taiwan? Banners screamed. Truth stretched thin, rumor creamed, and Yu Menglong's name, once silk and grace, dragged through speculation's maze. He did not flee. He did not speak. He stayed where silence felt too steep. Inside his apartment, curtains drawn. Morning pressed, but was not let on. Awards reflected fractured light. A past too bright for present night. And somewhere deep behind his calm, a tremor beat beneath the bomb. Because fame is not the storm itself. It's watching storms erase yourself. Meanwhile, the manager's shadow grew. Each hour gone made rumors new. He's hiding evidence, some cried. He knows the truth. That's why he hides. But hiding is a word too clean for fear that lives in between. In a hotel room where clocks lie still, curtains sealed against free will, a suitcase unopened, hands unsteady, a man paced circles, never ready to become the villain crowds require. When stories thirst for someone to fire, his phone lit up, mother, wife, contacts tied to former life. He didn't answer. He couldn't choose. Because silence sometimes feels like fuse. Outside, fans gathered under screens, defending ghosts, attacking dreams. Edits cut with tragic sound, old interviews dug from the ground, a laugh replayed, a glance slowed down, until coincidence wore a crown. And every frame asked just one thing. Why did the manager disappear first? The question stabbed like broken glass. Sharp because it seemed to ask if truth runs fastest when it's caught, or if lies are simply better taught. On social feeds, the clock ticked loud. Absence judged by digital crowd. No statement came, no damage control. Just a widening, aching hole. And every hour that no one spoke turned smoke into assumed smoke. Yu Menglong watched it all unfold, a human heart inside a role. Knowing part one was never about guilt, but how fast a narrative is built, how the missing man becomes the key, before proof earns the right to be. He thought of scenes, rehearsed and known, where villains flee and heroes groan, and wondered when the script went wrong, when real life stole drama song. Because in truth, the first act hurts the most, before logic arrives, before facts post, when fear outruns the speed of mind, and absence gets brutally assigned. A single message finally typed, then erased, then retyped. The manager stared at blinking blue, a cursor asking, "What is true? Send and burn them all? Or wait and let the silence fall?" Outside his window, planes cut sky, leaving lines that didn't lie. Each one proof that leaving's easy, but staying clean is far more uneasy. And so part one stayed raw and wide. No ending yet, no truth applied, just vanishing acts and whispered fear. And one question ringing clear. Was this an escape, or a pause before fire? Was this fear, or something higher? The story held, its breath unspent, still rhyming with what came before it went, because before exposure, before the reveal, part one is where emotions kneel. And the silence? The silence still stood tall, the loudest character of all.